Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Before we jump into the lower time frame stuff, we're going to be discussing some of the moves that we're looking for here. Now, the main idea here is that for as long as we actually remain below this 28,142 level, we do have precedence for the more bearish cases here, where we are either looking for this move to continue down in a C wave, where we're looking for this one-to-one towards this 22,264, or alternatively here, what we could be doing is forming something like a diagonal pattern, in which case, for as long as we stay below this high, we need to be on the lookout for this three-wave move to the downside. One-to-one off of our current high would be this 24,737 level, but we'll be looking out also for the potential of moving down towards this 1236 to this 1382. Invalidation of this idea of this move playing out as a diagonal would come by crossing this 22397. Now, what we'd be saying within this is that this is wave 1, 2, we're looking for our wave 3, then we'd be looking for a 3-wave move up and another 3-wave move to the downside. If we do end up getting a 3-wave move to the downside like this, and then we start to see 5-wave structure to the upside, we need to be careful, because the idea of the bigger flat is still on the cards here, that if this is our A wave to the upside, we could still have this as A, B, and C, in which case what we could actually see here is a pushback down to some of these levels here between this 25,166 and this 24,113. Now, I would be looking out for a potential sweep of this low if we do see something like this play out, where we'd be looking for towards this 24,740 as our one-to-one. So what we'd be expecting is to actually maintain this high here if we're looking for this option, and then seeing a 5-wave structure developing to the downside, looking to push us down into some of these lower levels. If we did see a move back down into some of these lower zones towards this one-to-one, what I'd then be looking for, if we are getting a flat correction here, would be a 5-wave structure looking to push us up towards this 1618 to this 1382, and that would then look to sweep these highs over here. This would all then be forming this bigger B wave that we discussed earlier over here, where potentially, if we are not completed here, this move is just becoming a bigger B wave, where we could see price looking to push up into some of these higher zones here. Now, we do have this 786, which would align quite nicely with sweeping this level over here. Alternatively, if we're looking at a flat, quite a common area is this 50% to this 382. So we're going to be watching these two different levels here. If we do move up here, 618 is sitting here at this 29,142 level, which would also be quite an interesting zone to keep an eye on if we do look to actually see a flat correction push up here. Could still indicate that we're still within the B wave, and all this would do is push the C wave target to the upside. Now, we also discussed the possibility here that we could be making a corrective push to the upside here, where we're looking at a bigger corrective move, where effectively what we could have here is that this move in itself could be a W, X, and a Y, and this has formed our A wave. Now, if we continue to hold this white support zone here of this 50% to the 786, there is potential we could see another push up and then a push to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this idea, what we'd then be saying is that instead of looking at this move as a 5-wave structure, we'd be looking at this move as a 3-wave structure down, where this is our W wave, this is our X, A, triangle for B, C, and then now we're looking for this B wave. Now, the most common target area for this is between this 50% and the 786. But if we do see this fall short, we could actually be looking for this C wave to the downside from where we currently are. If we do see something like this, this would push that one-to-one level down towards that 25,670. If, however, we see this B wave progress to the upside here and we move up towards this 50% zone, that would actually put this one-to-one here towards this 25,847. Now, this would be quite an interesting zone, particularly if we see an interaction with this 0.786, which is sitting here at this 25,775. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on some of these lower levels here to see if we do get a move back in here, whether we get a reaction back to the upside. Now, what this would be saying is that from further back here, we have this whole move as A, we have this as a B, and then we get a C wave to the upside. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. If we did move down towards that 0.786. This would align to having a move back up here to the upside, looking to push into this range of this 28k to this 28,579. So going to be watching the support box if we do look to continue to progress down here. Potentially, we could look to find support. Now, if we are looking at the idea of this being a breakdown here, where what we're saying is that either this is A, B, or 1, 2, and we're looking for that wave 3, or we're looking for the potential here that this is going to be a C wave to the downside. There's a couple of ways that I'm looking at the lower time frame moves here. So we're going to discuss these as what we'd want to see for the potential of a bigger breakdown here. So the initial way I was looking at it is like this, where what I was saying is that potentially we have this as 1, 2 here. We have another 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the problem that we have here is that this fourth wave is pretty much at the limit if it's going to be compared to this wave 2. I'd want to see this breakdown directly from where we are now. We have come into this typical rejection area here, which is this 26,753. And what I'm going to be looking for here is that if this move is going to start to break down here, I'd want to see 5 waves looking to push us down towards this 26,307 to this 26,169 level. Now, if we do see this just as a fourth and a fifth, it's going to be important what happens next, because we're going to go over another count where this could potentially complete in this target box area. So if we are looking at this count, what we then say is that we're going to get a fifth wave here. We're going to see a smaller 3-wave move back up for another fourth and a fifth, and then we're going to get another fourth and a fifth. So the key thing within this count is that effectively, as long as this previous fourth wave holds, we could look for continuation to the downside here, where we have some additional fourths and fifths looking to play out. So if we did complete into this target box area over here, what we'd then be looking for is a 3-wave move looking to push us back up into this 26,746 to this 26,448 level. So going to be watching this zone over here if we do see this move play out in this way. Now, it is also possible that we could look at this move rather like this, where what we would then say is that this move over here is wave 1, this is wave 2, this actually becomes our wave 3, where we count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then what we'd then be saying is that this is the yellow wave 4. Now, because this wave 2 is bigger, it is possible that this wave 4 could do something like this, A, B, and C, and then look to actually extend out here. But, it is also possible, because this would have been a more complex wave 2, that this could just be simple, and then we get this breakdown. Now, the target area for this would be 26,292 to this 26,154. We'd be expecting this level to hold here, this 26,806. A sustained break above this would actually indicate that potentially, something else is going on. Invalidation of this comes by crossing 26,950. So if we do look to push up above this level, we've got a couple of options here that we could look at. Is, either this is just a corrective move here, and this is becoming a bigger B wave where we would expect this high to hold, and then we could look for continuation down, or alternatively we could be looking for some kind of a breakout here. If we continue to hold this high, however, we can also have the potential here that this becomes 1, 2, and then we look for continuation down. We're going to go over that in a second. Now, the idea with this is that what this would do is this would then form our wave 1. So we'd get all of this as a wave 1. We get a 3-wave move to the upside, not moving back above this high, and then look for this bigger wave 3 to the downside, where effectively our 1.618 off of that 50% level would be here at this 24,709. So if we do complete this as a 5-wave move down, we'd be looking for either this move to be A, B, and C, in which case we move down to this 1-to-1 level, once again moving into some of these support zones that we've got over here, or alternatively blast through that level looking for this 1618. That's going to be what I'm looking out for here, to kind of give us more of an indication of which of these counts is in play. Now, the more bearish situation here would actually be that instead of looking at it in that way, this is 1, 2, and then what we'd be saying is this is potentially another 1 and a 2. Now, if this is another 1, 2 here, what we'd be expecting is a much deeper drop towards 25,387. And this would then be saying that, we've got this as 1, 2, we're going to get 3, we'd get a 4th wave and a 5th wave, which would look to push us down towards this 25,266 to this 25k region. And then we'd be looking for a bigger yellow 4th wave again, and then a 5th wave to the downside, which could push us down towards 25k to this 24,720. So going to be keeping an eye on that level, because if we do get a move actually play out in this way, if I come back out here, what we can see is that this would actually align quite nicely with that idea of this being an A, B, and a C to the downside, where if we're looking at this target area for this diagonal, you know, this 1-to-1 is sitting right here at this 24,740. So this would align quite nicely with coming back down here in this way. So going to be watching out for this. You know, if we continue to hold these highs over here, this one is going to be our invalidation point. But if we do move back above 27,502, the probability is that we've got a different count going on here, potentially the bullish count to the upside, or alternatively, this is moving as a corrective structure where this becomes A, B, and then we get a bigger C wave up. I would expect this to get bigger if it is going to be that B wave, but we'll have to see. Sometimes we can get very shallow B waves. It'll be just one of those things that we're going to have to watch the structure for. Now, if we're looking for the potential of a breakout from this point, I'm still looking for the same idea here, where potentially what we could have here is that this is 1 and 2. We have this as another 1, 2. This becomes 1 and 2. And then we're looking for this bigger push to the upside. Now, I'd want to see a move up here, potentially towards this 2618 level of this 29,246 to confirm this. The 1.618 is here at this 28,000. But if we turn on the internals of this move, what we'd be saying is that effectively this move here is wave 1 as a diagonal, and we're looking at this just as a corrective move. Now, this is why it's going to be important whether we get that additional fifth wave to the downside. Invalidation of this bullish count comes by crossing 26,225. If we do get this additional fifth wave down, this will look to invalidate this idea. But as long as we actually hold this low here, what we can see is there's a couple of levels that we've hit. So we've come down into the 0.854 of this as a wave 1. We've also hit this as the 1.618 of this as a WXY. Now we have also internally, if this is A, B, and C, hit this 1.382. So we've got a few little clusters here of levels that we've had an interaction with. Now what I want to see is that if we are looking at this effectively as another 1 and 2, we need to see this low hold now, and we need to see price starting to build from this point and looking to actually form impulsive structure to the upside. So we're going to come down here into the smaller time frames, and if this is actually looking to develop as an impulse, the way that I'm going to be looking for this to actually play out would be in two ways. So either we could argue we're getting something like a diagonal pattern here, and what we'd then say is that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'd be looking for a 3-wave move down here, and then another 3-wave move to the upside, looking to potentially sweep this high one more time. If this is a diagonal pattern here, and we do get this 3 waves down and another 3 waves to the upside, what we would then be looking for is 3 waves to the downside here, looking to test out this 50% to the 786. Invalidation of this continuing to the upside as an impulse would be here at this 26,377. So they would be looking at it as a diagonal pattern. Now another way of looking at it is that we could actually argue that this is forming a series of 1s and 2s, where this becomes 1, 2, we have this as 1, 2, and then we get another 1, 2 here. Now this counter is very fragile and relies on holding this 26,573. Like I said, you know, there is potential here that this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What we need to see here is that if we just get 3 waves down and we hold this 0.786 level here of this 26,610, I'm going to be looking for the potential that we could see a rally to the upside. Now, what we'd want to see here is that if this becomes 1, 2, and we're looking for this zone of the 786, our 1.618 is going to be here at this 26,885. So going to be looking out for a movement past this level. If we do get this, what we would then be looking for potentially would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, where we don't want to cross this wave 1 high, and then we'd be looking for effectively an additional 4th and a 5th and a 4th and a 5th to the upside, which could look to push us back up into some of these higher levels. Now if we do form this as 1, 2, all of this becomes 3, 4, and 5. We're going to be watching that retracement 3 waves down, looking to hold support above this low, could indicate that we see continuation up. If we start to get 5-wave structure to the downside, this could potentially then indicate that, you know, this move is not an impulse from this point, and that we're looking for that continuation to the downside. So we need to just be very careful here with how we're counting this. There is potential for this to extend to the upside here. Like I said, either what we'd want to see if this is going to look for a reversal from this low is to see this develop as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we get 3 waves down, or alternatively continue hold this 26,573 and then see this purple count play out, then get an additional fourth and a fifth. What we want to see here, if we're looking at this as 1, 2, is a move above this 26,988. Coming in here and having a look at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is that we have printed lower CPR lines, and these are aligning quite nicely with that fourth wave target. So because we are in the middle of these, I'm keeping an eye on these zones. We could potentially still find support here on this 26,632. If we do, we could find resistance once again at 26,700 and this 26,767. If, however, today we manage to push back above these levels, I am going to be watching this 27,000 level, 27,487, 27,805, and this 28,263 as potential upside targets. Now, if we do look to actually reject down deeper here, what we could see is a move down towards this 26,245, which would align with the idea of this being 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're looking for that fifth wave. So going to be watching that level. Alternatively, lower down here, we do have targets of this 25,919, 25,465, and this 25,134 as potential downside targets for today. So those lower targets would only really come into play, in my opinion, if this becomes 1, 2, and then we're looking for this as a third wave. Now, if we come over here and have a look at the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we are currently still above our central lines. Now, if we do see this idea of additional fifth wave to the downside, this could align with coming back into this 26,311, which could potentially offer us support. If we lose that level, 26,111 is the next zone I'm going to be looking for, and then this 25,890 as potential support lower down here. This would align more with the idea of seeing something like this as an ABC, in which case what we would then be potentially looking for is a reaction back to the upside. Now, if we do lose these central lines, what we'd be looking for as targets to the downside would be 25,316, 24,113, and 23,334 as potential downside targets for today. If, however, we find support on these central lines, we could potentially see a bounce back up towards this 27,316 as a retest of this R1 line. If we clear that, we have this 28,099, 29,303 as potential upside targets for this week. Now, moving over here and having a look at the monthly CPRs, we can see that we're still holding this level, the support here, which is our lower line here, which is sitting at this 26,526. If we continue to see this hold as support, we could potentially see a movement back up and towards this 27,111 level. If we do see price moving up into that middle zone there, we could potentially find resistance here again. Alternatively, if we clear that, we need to be aware of resistance potentially at this 27,709 level. Now, if we do look to move back above these CPR lines, I will be looking out for the potential of testing this 29,058. Other targets for this month to the upside would be 32,227 and this 34,125 as potential upside targets. Now, if we are looking at this move as potentially going to break down here and we start to lose these central lines, going to be watching out for a movement in towards this 23,984. This could align quite nicely with the idea of this being an A, B, and a C if we get some extension. Alternatively, if we lose that level, 22,000 is going to be a zone of interest, and this 18,897. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.